People should always donate to help refugees in need. But before I start my presentation, I want you all to imagine your family, your neighborhood, your relatives, and imagine the place that you live in, and you waking up the next day finding something like this. And for those of you that don't know, this is a picture of Aleppo during the 6-year civil war that's going on in Syria, that's still going on right now. And this photo was taken in 2014, and as many of you know, the city has been completely leveled in the last year, and there aren't any inhabitants. This is a map showing the number of refugees fleeing to the neighboring countries of Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, and Turkey. And according to worldvision.org, there have been 6.3 million people that have been displaced because of this civil war. And there has been a 468% increase in the number of refugees in these neighboring countries alone from the years 2013 to 2015. And this figure is from the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. And these people are really important because they provide all this information, and they're the ones on the ground processing all the asylum requests from these refugees. And this is a really big problem for the Middle East right now, because the Middle East has been in turmoil for God knows how long, and this only adds fuel to the fire because lately we've been getting a lot of extremist groups, and this just acts as a cover for them to travel in the Middle East. Now, to give you a background on the war, before I get into the war, I'll give you a background of how this conflict started. And in 1979, Iran had a revolution which brought this man on the picture on the left, Ayatollah, to power. And before that, in the 70s, Iran was actually a really developed country. They had liberal laws, people didn't have to cover up, and it wasn't anything like the Iran people know and see today. But since the Shah, who is portrayed in the picture as this ugly creature, who was actually a really good ally of the US, Iran had a lot of US support, much like Saudi do now. But the problem is that the royal family at that time was a Sunni majority, and Iran is a Shia majority country. So they ousted him and brought in the new regime. And a CNN article actually about this said that the proxy wars between Saudi Arabia and Iran actually worsened the situation in the Middle East by increasing dictatorship, militia violence with the rebels in Iraq and Syria, and led to an increase in extremism in the region. And this map shows the Sunni Shia split in the Middle East. The countries in red are Sunni majority, and the blue are Shia majority. And for those of you who don't know, that out of the 1.3 billion Muslims in the world, 90% of them are Sunni and 10% are Shia. Now, the main difference in ideologies between these two countries, Saudi Arabia and Iran, are the Sunni Shia split. And the main difference between this is that after the death of how the split formed is that after the death of our Prophet Muhammad, there were conflicts on who should succeed him, and basically that's how the split started. And the main difference today between these two sects is that Shias, which are mainly located in Iran, have this idea of a cleric who is basically God sent, and his word is the word of God. But Sunnis do not believe that. They believe that a cleric is just a religious person, and no one on earth can act as a messenger to God except for the Prophet. And a CNN article about this said that whoever wins the proxy wars in Yemen and Syria that are going on right now in the Middle East gains control of the Middle East. And because of these conflicts, an article released by Fox News Associated Press said that there are, as of 2015, there are 200,000 people dead and millions displaced. I'm sure many of you don't know who this person is, but just to give you quick background information before I start into this man and his contribution to the war in Syria. As many of you know, Saudi Arabia and Iran publicly execute a lot of people throughout the year, and most of the times Saudi Arabia executes Shia clerics because they promote extremism in the country and ideologies against the state, and Iran executes Sunni clerics and the Sunnis in general because they do the opposite and go against the Iranian government. And the NPR, which is an American company, the National Public Radio, stated that Saudi Arabia executed 47 people in 2016, and one of them was this man, a Shia cleric in the northern part of Saudi by the name of Mehmet. This really caused tensions and problems to escalate because Iran retaliated by burning down our embassy in Iran. So yeah, it was just the past repeating itself again. And a CNN article said that the death of the cleric affects US-Iran relations because Saudi Arabia is a major ally for the US in the region, and tensions between the US and Iran increased. Like I said, Saudi Arabia and Iran executed a lot of people throughout the years, but none of the executions got as press and reaction as this man's death did. And I think this is probably because Iran took advantage of the situation to further their cause in the wars in the Middle East. Things were actually looking pretty decent and improving during the Obama administration because he took sort of a diplomatic solution towards the problem. He never wanted to put troops on the ground. He never wanted to escalate things with Iran or Russia. But as soon as Trump got into power, he started talking about creating safe zones in Syria and putting troops on the ground, which he did, which creates a lot of problems. First of all, the safe zones he wants to create in Syria conflict with Turkey's interests because Turkey is fighting the war against the Kurdish people in their southern border, and they say that these safe zones will create safe havens for them to travel around the Middle East. Secondly, Donald Trump putting troops in Syria to combat ISIS and Bashar al-Assad regime, just as a way to escalate things between the US and Russia. Because as many of you know, Russia is a big ally of Syria, and they're the ones that bombed Aleppo and continue to do airstrikes all over Syria. Another thing about Donald Trump is his foreign policy. What scares most people is that he refuses to talk about it. He is very indecisive and acts irrationally. And the Middle East isn't an issue or an area where you can do that. You have to think think things through. You can't just put an army in to solve the problem, because you're gonna create an unstable state like Bush did in Iraq back in 2008. What all of us can do to help is obviously donate to refugees, and just by Googling Syrian refugee aid, you'll get about 100 different links. But these three are the most popular. The first one is the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, and these people are really important because they go to the refugee camps and process all the asylum applications for the Syrian refugees. And Doctors Without Borders are the people on the ground in Aleppo and Homs, providing medical care for people that are constantly being shelled, constantly at conflict. And the people, the last ones, the white helmets, they're the people that have been getting the most press coverage lately because they actually made a documentary about them. They're the people that go to recently bombed sites and dig through the rubble to try and rescue people. And to conclude, the way both countries, Saudi Arabia and Iran, are handling the situation only causes more instability and uncertainty in the region. And that's why it's important to donate and help these people, because no one else will.